Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. And this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try and discuss or talk about market structure. And this is just going off of people's questions when they ask me about what do I mean by, when I'm trading structure to structure. Usually in my videos, sometimes I talk about break of structure. What is this structure? So I just decided to do a quick video, especially targeting brand new traders or new traders who are still struggling with understanding price action and market structure because I am purely a structure trader. Having transitioned from so many ways of trading in the last 2 years of my journey, and I just came to realize that I am the kind of trader who doesn't like too many things on my chart, and I just like to simplify things. So for me, when I began to understand market structure and how price moves within this structure and how institutional players also come in vis-a-vis retail players, it really kind of helped me see the charts and the technical part of trading a bit differently. So I'm hoping that this short video, hopefully I'll keep it as short as possible, will be as beneficial as the knowledge I've been gaining over the last couple of years on structure have been for me. So where does it all begin? Usually I tell people like it's important to look at structure from a time frame perspective in terms of the higher time frame, dialing it down to a lower time frame. But more importantly, it's also good to know that you can be right about, let's say, the bias of a market on one time frame, and the bias on a different market can be totally different. It doesn't nullify your thinking on the previous time frame that you have looked at. But for you guys who are here for the first time, and again, thank you if you're tuning in today and you haven't been on my channel before, welcome. Please do me a favor before I go on, just like that, click that like button, bang the subscription button as well. By all means, click on the notifications bell so that anytime I post up new content, you do get alerted. That being said, let me kind of break down price in this way, in a very simple way, how I learned it and how we all begin to learn it. Price moves up or down in the market. So we have an uptrend and a downtrend. So in an uptrend, we find that price would push up, retest, push up, retest, push up, retest, push up, and so on and so forth. Now, this retest, you can call it anything. Price pushes up, it reverses, it pushes up, it retraces. It doesn't really matter. You just need to understand the anatomy of price. This is on an uptrend, and on a downtrend, obviously the opposite is true. Price pushes down, retests at a certain level, pushes down, retests a certain level, and so on and so forth. Now, this could be a retracement, could be a retest, reversal, whatever you want to call it. But this is clearly a downtrend. Now, why is this? For example, let's focus on the uptrend for a minute. Why is this an uptrend? Okay, this is an uptrend because when price began to push up from this level here, let's say we are the 1.72798 level. If you look right, that's where the price is at right now. So when price pushed up from this level, okay, it pushed up and found a certain level where it rested for a time, or there was a struggle going past this level, and as a result, it began to push back, okay, and retest a certain, retest. And when it was retesting, it again came to a certain level that was higher than this one and stopped and then bounced off this higher zone and pushed up, breaking this higher high. So this high here. So technically, we can break this down to the basics, and we can say, okay, this is the price level, okay, or let's say I could say this is the entry price, EP, entry price. I'll just put it like that. And then we come to a high, and at that high, and I'll just put it as an H. So at this high here, okay, this was the high. We rejected at this high level, okay, and basically rejected and came here and we formed a low. So I'll put that as an L. Okay, now this point here is lower than this point here. So this is the high, and then this is a low. okay? And then what happened next is we then formed another high here. But this high is higher than this previous high here, okay? And then we again rejected this level, pushed lower, didn't quite come to this zone. So we could have come here, we could have come here, we could have come here. It doesn't really matter. We just didn't break this level, okay? So we came there, and what did we do? We formed another low. However, this low is higher than this low. So we then forms a higher low, and so on and so forth. So what you find is we keep on forming higher highs and higher lows, okay, as we continue on our uptrend, okay? So that's where we're coming from. So this is an uptrend. Now the opposite is true on a downtrend. We come from this high, so we form our high, okay? Or maybe we can say, you can mark this as the entry price because that's where price is first pushing from. Then it comes and forms a low. Okay, so it forms a low here. So I'll mark that as an L. And then from this low, it bounces off this level and pushes up to a higher point that is higher than this specific low. So this high, for your understanding, this high here came about as a result of this low, from this low. Like this originated from this low. Okay, it's important for future to understand that. Okay, so then it formed a what we call a high, yes. However, that high is lower than this EP price or point or level, okay? Because this was the high and this formed a lower high. And then it pushed down, okay, breaking this low here and formed a low, okay? So this low originated from this lower high, okay? So we find that we have a low that forms here, but this low is now a lower low designated by an LL, okay? And then the same happens, rejected, formed a high that was higher than this low, but not higher than this one. So it formed another lower high here, okay, like that, and so on and so forth, and kept on just forming more lows, okay, here. So we find another lower low. So if it rejected off of this, we'd find it pushing up and so on and so forth. So this is a downtrend. On a downtrend, we see lower highs, lower highs, lower highs being formed, and lower lows, lower lows, lower lows being formed. On an uptrend, the opposite is true. We find higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, and higher lows and higher lows and higher lows being formed. Okay, so that's the basic overall anatomy of price. Now, this is a perfect scenario. In an imperfect scenario, you find price can push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, push down. Like it won't be as clean as this. This is still an uptrend, as this is still an uptrend, okay? Because we find this high is still higher than this high. This high is still higher than this low. This one is still high. And this low, in as much as it came pretty low, and possibly someone would have thought it was going to break and go below, it still formed above this low. So as a rule, okay, when we say that the price is respecting structure, we are saying it in vis-a-vis previous behavior. So when price pushed lower here, it didn't violate this low. It stayed above this low. So for me, I always say, as long as price is respecting structure, it bounced off here. And when this one came, it didn't come below this. When this one pushed lower, it didn't come below here, okay, and pushed up, okay? That is a respect of structure, okay? Similarly, if we are on a downtrend, okay, as long as we are not violating structure, like this high could have pushed up completely, it would be a high, right? It would be a valid high. But it did not, it took out this high, then we can begin to say that maybe there's a shift in structure that is beginning to happen. But when you look at it again, okay, we see that we actually, okay, this one actually pushed up, but let's say it just pushed just below this high, we'd still consider this a downtrend because price did not quite push above that level. Okay, so we are still in a downtrend, and you can see why we then still pushed lower. Okay, so I think it's important to understand that. Okay, let me just return to where we were. So let me remove this for now. Now, what I want you guys to also understand is this, okay? Within this structure that is shifting upwards, we have microstructure happening at the same time. On a lower time frame, if I was to zoom in into a lower time frame, this would be, I would probably be seeing, let's say, another, uptrend, maybe pushing up, then just hold on, pushing up, we'll see price pushing up, pushing down, not quite taking out this low, maybe pushing up, taking out that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, and maybe even sometimes maybe we could push lower here, and then like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. This is, we still see mini structure happening on the way up on a lower time frame. And it's important to understand this, okay? Because if you don't understand this, then it's very easy for you to get caught out, okay? So if I'm to zoom in, maybe I put this in a different color for emphasis sake. Now, when we look at this chart over here, what are we seeing? We are seeing price pushed up, okay, formed a high, came here, formed a low. Now, this low was higher than this one. So this is a higher low, formed a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. In this scenario, it formed a low, but it kind of violated this low. So you'd probably be thinking maybe price is now shifting lower. That's actually a valid assumption. But what we see after that, because it didn't quite break below this, we are still in an uptrend. It didn't break below this low here. Okay, so we are seeing this low here. So because it didn't break through, it only broke past this one. Okay, we could begin to say, okay, maybe price is shifting lower, but then we pushed up again. So we could then say that this level here was probably, price was faking us out to the downside to try and make us think that the trend up was done, right? Now, let's just do this again. So if I am to draw this out, let me change, how do I, just hold on, guys. I want to maybe change the color of this and say maybe make it green. Okay, so okay, so within this structure, so what are we seeing? We're seeing we are, buying, we are still buying, okay, we are still in buy territory, we are still in buy territory, and so we are seeing some bit of structure being formed within this uptrend. Okay, we are still, this is probably, maybe I could I could change this to, let's say, maybe I could make this red. Okay, this is the first potential violation that is maybe telling me maybe we are in a downtrend. Okay, however, we push up again. Okay, and then push down again. So technically, we are still, you know, so in this reversal, someone could argue that we are in a downtrend. That is very, very accurate. Okay. However, overall, if I zoom in, we are still pushing up. And guys, the reason why I'm doing this so painstakingly and trying to explain this point is because however you look at the market, a lot of the time you're correct about your bias. Okay, so there's nobody who's ever really wrong. However, where we sometimes get caught out is when we forget, okay, that there's structure within structure within structure within different time frames. So let's say I was to go to a higher time frame. We're on the 4 hour, the black line is a 4-hour, let's say. The orange is, let's say, the 15 minutes. But within this 15 minute is another structure. So we'll probably see something like, just hold on. We'll probably see a movement like maybe, I'll just see things, okay, this isn't working. We push up, we push down, we push up. This is actually harder than I thought. Drawing this out is actually harder than I thought. So I want to do this. Sorry, guys. But I'm hoping that I'm not going to lose you in this explanation. What I wanted to do was like just make it. So within this structure, we have some highs, some highs, some lows, some highs, some lows, some highs, some lows, some highs, some lows, some highs, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So what I'm trying to explain is within the 15 minutes, you could probably go down to the 1 minute and see different types of structure. Of course, it's not going to be as messy as what I'm trying to draw, but I'm just trying to make a point. Okay. Now, let me get rid of that mess for now. If I zoomed in, okay, this could actually be this could also be the case. So this could be a high. If I go on a weekly time frame, this could be a low, this could be a high, this could just be 1, 2, 3 waves, okay? And this is a higher time frame. In fact, this could even just be one wave. Maybe I'm on the monthly, okay? So because of that, sometimes the reason why I'm explaining this, guys, is because sometimes we forget that structure on the higher time frame tends to be the stronger structure than maybe the lower time frames. And when we are trading on the lower time frame and you could be buying and maybe the higher time frames are telling you that we're on a sell, at some point, because you've forgotten about the higher time frame, you get caught out. Okay, so let's look at this now from a chart perspective. Okay, let me now, because I think I've explained that. So let me go on the 4 hour. So let's try and explain this from a 4-hour perspective. And I'm just going to look at, for example, in this scenario, we are looking at Euro NZD. So on a higher time frame perspective, we can clearly see that this is a high, okay? And this high, or let me start with this and say, okay, this is there was a low here, there was a high here, there was another low here, possibly, or maybe I can even put it here on this low. There was a high here, there was a low here, and there are intermediary highs and lows here, okay? So this is a high. Now, and we can say there's a high here as well. So let me just explain it this way, okay? Price pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down somewhere, pushed down, like that, and so on, okay? Now, if you know this is, so this would be a shift, we are looking at it from, let's say, an order flow perspective, institutional perspective. Like we can see the trend is up, down, is up, then down, then up, then down, up, then down, up, then down, like that. But at the same time, okay, at the same time, if I was to zoom out, you'd even see this a bit differently. Where have you gone to? You'd even see more activity, okay, within that same structure. So let me zoom in, okay, let me zoom out and start this again, and then I'll leave the markings there for you guys to see. So we can say from this high here, Okay, we are on a downtrend. There was a high, there was potentially a low that formed here, another high. This high came from this low. Then we formed a low here and possibly a high here. Now you can choose this low, this low. Doesn't really matter, guys. Yeah. As long as you understand what we are trying to get at. There was a low here and another low here, right? Let me just do this a bit like here. And then there was another low here at some point. So the trend is down. Okay. Now, when I zoom in, what do we see? More intermediary structure. Okay, when I zoom in, I now even see that from this high here, okay, there was actually a low that formed here, a high that formed here, another low that formed here, another high that formed here, another low that formed here, another high that formed, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And if I was to go, let's say on a 15 minutes, hopefully it will show me what I want to see, or what I'm trying to explain. If I go, sorry, if I go on a 15-minute chart, let's see. I think on this other side. Okay, just hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm trying to look for where we had marked out the chart. Actually, it's a bit farther. Wow. Okay, so okay, guys, I'm lost. I'm trying to look at where my chart is, where we had done our markings. Okay, hold on, guys. My machine is also acting up. So let me first clear this and then do this again. So let's go back on the on the 4-hour chart, okay? And I'll try and not use a very big zone so that we don't have to push too far back. So I'll do this again, okay? This is clearly a downtrend. If I was to draw a trend line, this is it, right? Now, this is where price began. So there was this low here, and then there was this high, and then there was this lower low, and then there was this higher low, and then we had this lower low, higher low, lower low, and then for the first time we broke past this and formed this move. Now, what we can say, basically the trend is down, but at this particular point in time, we broke structure here and are now beginning to shift up. That is actually correct. However, because this high is still below this high, so this is a lower high, we are still shifting downwards. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Now, if you know this, okay, and let me now try and zoom in. Let's say, let me go to the 1 hour. Okay, and on the 1 hour, we can see intermediary structure. Even when we just look, sorry, in here, okay, even if we just look in here in this schematic, we can argue that within this zone itself, there's some there's some structure shifts also happening. Okay, we can see very clearly we came from this high to this low, to this high, to this low, to this high, to this low, to this high, to this low, and then now we started forming lower highs here. Okay, so technically we are moving like this, 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 like this. Okay, so I hope this is making some sense. So someone can actually say, I want to sell from here to here, I want to buy from here to here. We are on a downtrend, uptrend, downtrend, and so on and so forth. But when you zoom out, we see this chart differently, and we can definitely begin to see that actually on a higher time frame, we are trending down. The trend is down, and probably this is a retest. So let me move like this. Okay, we trended down and we are pushing down, and likely maybe this is a continuation. So down, like in the, remember when I was drawing for you guys the downtrend. Okay, this is a perfect example. If I was to bring this here, this would be the downtrend here. Okay, okay, this would be it. Okay, so this could be the downtrend, and this could be a retest, and this could be a downtrend. Now guys, if you understand this, trading becomes so easy. Okay, and so much easier, because you're not just telling yourself that because you're seeing price shifting lower, okay, you are simply and purely in a downtrend. Okay, like we've just seen that this could simply have been one wave. Okay, and possibly a continuation down. Okay, because what we've been seeing is we've actually been trending. If I go on a higher time frame like the daily, okay, this could even be a wave coming from up here, down here, and meeting this wave to the downside. Okay, so you can see that if you're looking at it from a perspective of a higher time frame, the price action looks a bit different. Okay, and we know, for example, Euro NZD has been shifting lower from the big, and the people causing the shift in the market, we know that it's the institutional traders and not really the retail traders. And I talk about institutional traders, I'm talking about the big banks. Okay, these are the people who move the market. So you want to be trading according to how the big banks are moving the market. Okay, or you want to at least have an idea of what's happening in the market before you take any position. And that's why I like to look at the higher time frame. And it doesn't matter, you can look at the 4 hour. You may not even want to look at the daily, but you may look at the 4 hour. But even if you look at the 4 hour and you trade on the 1 minute, or rather, even if you trade on the 1 minute, you should look at the, let's say, the 15 4 hour. If you trade on the 30 minutes, you want to look at the 4 hour as well, daily, weekly. It doesn't matter. You just need to have a overall higher time frame perspective, and then you dial it down to the lower time frame. Now, if I was to go to, let's say, the 1 minute, this would look totally different. Okay, if I go on the 1 minute, this would look totally different. Yes, we are looking like we are on a downtrend, but within this downtrend, there is an uptrend, a downtrend, an uptrend, a downtrend, because structure uptrend, downtrend, uptrend. So in as much as we are moving down, we are still also in kind of some schematic happening here. So it's very important to know what the market is telling, what the structure of the market is telling you. Okay, so again, guys, I hope this explains a few things. So like right now, when I look again on the daily or the weekly, let's go back to the weekly. When I look at the weekly, we've been trending lower. And that's why if you watched my weekly analysis earlier, for me, I was like, okay, Euro NZD has been pushing up, okay? And my anticipation is that it may push above this zone here and then continue to trend lower. So if you watch that video, you'll notice that that's exactly what I've said, that Euro and NZD may push up, take out liquidity up here, and then continue lower, or it may even just take out this previous high here before pushing lower. But generally, okay, in as much as we were bullish last week and the previous weeks, we may begin to see price moving lower. Why? Because on the higher time frame, the EN has been trending lower, okay? Even if we push up above this high, we are still in general bearish structure. Okay, we are still in a general, and of course, this is a very ugly schematic. Okay, but you get the point. Okay, we are still in bearish structure, and that's why I'm longer term, I'm bearish, but on the short term, I anticipate price moving up. And obviously, for you guys to understand why I anticipate that, it will probably take another recording, or maybe if you're in one of my classes, I probably do explain this a bit more in detail. So hopefully, guys, this video is of help. If it is, please like, smash that subscription button, guys, and share with as many people as possible so we can all keep learning and growing. And thank you, guys. See you soon.